Alright, just concluded a phenomenal game against White Knight 23. Played this guy a couple of times in the past. Seems to have played pretty decent decks. And he is playing with Rubinia Soulsinger, one of my old favorite cards from way, 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 way back in the day. You have to forgive my voice, I'm a little sick right now, so hopefully it'll turn out okay. Anyway, very, very solid draw here. Counterspell, Ramp, Hive Master, Jete, looking solid. Fortunately, he's going first, and he plays Croson Verge, which is fine. I drew Skull Clamp, which obviously has insane synergy with the Hive Master. So I'm definitely liking my draw, other than the fact that it doesn't have any acceleration beyond the Priest. But the Priest is pretty good acceleration. Plays Yavimaya Hollow and Greaves. Greaves is a little troubling given the fact that one of my long-term solutions to Rubinia is to just get Jete counters out. But that's alright. We got plenty of time, right? He's got a third land, so I'm facing Rubinia next turn. And given that he's got Greaves out already, the situation's already starting to look a little grim. The fact that he can just use Rubinia right away makes it a lot harder for me to work around it. So as much as I'd like to develop here, I'm going to have to just hope he taps out to cast Rubinia next turn and counter it, which buys me some breathing room. He's got 4 land, and he plays Daxos. So Daxos combined with Lightning Greaves is definitely needs to be countered. I'm just going to stop that right now. And I'm hoping he doesn't have a 5th land, but then he's got Chancery. So yeah, the situation just got really, really, really dire. Because him having a hasted control magic creature kind of blunts, well, obviously Edric's one of Edric's biggest vulnerabilities is theft in general. If you get Edric stolen via any type of control magic, treachery, shackles, Rubinia, Mariki, or something like Gilded Drake, a lot of your game plan can really just go out the window, and you're forced to rely on the other tools that this deck has. It's actually one of the reasons why this version of Edric is so much better than I think versions that people commonly play, which are basically just based around weenies, because those decks roll over and die if Edric is destroyed multiple times, or if he's tucked, or if he's stolen, because then you're just left with a bad weenie deck. This version, however, has plenty of other opportunities. So, given the fact that I know he's putting out Rubinia, and he's going to steal a creature with haste next turn, and I can't counter it, I have to consider what is the best long-term strategy, and that's going to revolve around Skull Clamp and mana production. So if he's going to steal Edric, at the very least, I can at least make some guys and start clamping them. So I play the Hive Master, and I play Archdruid, and immediately just clamp, and we're going to go look for answers. Symbiote. That is an answer right there. Pretty amazing, actually. I'm able to play Jete and Symbiote because of the Priest. And I'm figuring, awesome. So if he just tries to steal something on his turn, I can just Symbiote in response. I can bounce whatever he takes and kind of work around it a little bit. And then he plays Crop Rotation at the end of the turn, and I'm thinking, what could he be getting? I'm thinking maybe Diamond Valley, and yet, just as bad, High Market. A much better version of Diamond Valley, in that it makes mana. So now, he plays Thespian Stage 2 to potentially copy the High Market or copy the Chancery. So there's Rubinia. I have no counter. And I'm hoping here that he doesn't recognize how dangerous the Symbiote is, and he tries to take one of my elves, and I can just bounce it. And obviously recasting it next turn is trivial. But nope, he steals the Symbiote, and I can't bounce it. Ugh. We are in deep, deep shit right here. Come on, deck. Deliver! Wasteland. Right on schedule. Look at that. God damn. Sometimes you gotta just get lucky. He tutors for Crop Rotation. I top deck Wasteland. Pretty incredible. Nate actually plays with an Expedition map because of how crucial some of the lands in the deck are, like Cradle and so on. But I just rely on getting lucky like that. So, yep, we got the Wasteland. Destroy the High Market before things get out of control. God, I'm so lucky that the stage is tapped out, too. So he couldn't just make a copy of it. He does sack my guy in response. But at least we've avoided, like, a complete catastrophe. We still have to deal with the rest of this junk, though. So now, we're just going to simply cast Edric. I get a token out of that, which is nice. And the options, of course, here are to just swing with all 3 creatures, or to put a Jitte out, or to equip Jitte and sack the token. And given that that gives me 2 cards and Jitte counters, that seems like a no-brainer. So we're just going to equip that guy. And I get a Soul Ring, which is fantastic too, timing-wise, because I have a free mana floating. Ugh. I'm shivering a little bit. That's why my voice is wavering a little bit, because it's cold. So here we go. Attack for 2. 2 counters, 2 cards. Sword, interesting. That's actually pretty good, given that his all of my guys are green and they can't block. So this is kind of a little techie play, actually suggested by my friend Elliot, who was watching the game. Skull clamping the priest. Given the fact that the priest is the most, well, I guess the druid is probably better. But I kind of actually want him to steal the druid, because that way all my guys shrink down and I can clamp them if I need to. So I figuring he's going to steal the priest next turn with Rubinia, or steal Edric. But if he does steal the priest somehow, the clamp immediately triggers and I get to draw 2, which is kind of cool. So untaps his control magic on a stick and steals Edric. That's fine. Plays Maze of Ith, which is obnoxious given the fact that I was hoping to use Sword of Feast and Famine. And he plays Gilded Drake. What's he going to go get? He grabs the Archdruid, which is pretty awesome. Oh, yeah, actually, no, not stealing the priest. If he steals the priest, that's fine. And I still get to draw the cards off of the clamp. But stealing the Archdruid means that the clamp is going to trigger. So I get to draw 2 cards. Natural Order. Fantastic. So I don't like the Maze at all, of course. But I like his mana even less. But I don't think we're quite ready. And this is going to be a long turn here. This guy starts saying Z, 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 Z. So I tell him I have lots to consider. And I do, actually. So Natural Order seems like the order of the day. I got to be able to cripple his mana. If there's any sort of long-term prospects of winning the game, I've got to be able to blow up at least his blue. And Natural Order is the way to do it. But the thing is, I don't really want to sack the Hive Master, because the Hive Master can generate all those tokens to feed to Skull Clamp. And I'm looking at long-term, I'm looking at Muddle. And Muddle turns into Cyclonic Rift, which gets me both of my guys back. And stops these shenanigans for a while as well. So there's a lot to consider. I thought about just doing Natural Order this turn and nuking his land. But I didn't feel like that really advanced my board state a whole lot, given that he was going to have Edric and 3 elephants, as well as he's still going to have the Archdruid in play, which taps for 3 mana. So it doesn't really cripple him that badly. I kind of want to do it. I've got some other things to do first, basically. So I think about a lot of stuff. He starts whining about time, I think. I'm tapping and retapping mana. You're wasting my time. Sorry, dude. So ultimately I decide I'm just going to play some flyers here and try to gum up the board and complicate things. Plus, having the Drake in play might mean that his 5 or 6 mana play. And I've got Muddle to also defend against nasty sorcery. So I'm just going to play these 2 guys here. And we're just going to chill here. And I also want to threaten some stuff here in case he considers starting to attack with Edric, which I think certainly makes sense. So he makes another Chancery at the end of the turn. He's got another land. And he casts Beast Within on the Jitte, which is quite interesting. And I'm really, really glad I got counters on that, because I can destroy 3 of his mana right now. Or I guess it's effectively 2. I had the option to muddle that, but that's no question I'm not doing that, because we're going with the Cyclonic Rift plan. That actually gives me a target for Natural Order as well. I really wanted to draw land there so I could clamp my beast first before Natural Ordering. But it's more important to me to keep the lapse up. So we're going to sack right now. Terastodon. Yeah, wiping out 5 of your opponent's mana is often a good route to victory. And I'm going to scry here. And off the top I see the Viridian Shaman, which is very nice too, to deal with the Greaves. We're just chilling on the laps. He's got that Yavimaya Hollow in his hand still. Yeah, and I think because of the Yavimaya Hollow, I honestly think that an attack here by him is not crazy at all. I mean, he loses one guy. He's got Maze of Ith to stop this. He loses one guy to... I mean, what am I going to... How do I block exactly? If he attacks with all 4, do I let my Edric die? Maybe. Probably not, though. I probably don't block Edric. I block here, certainly. And do I even trade here? Probably not, and he can just use the Yavimaya Hollow on the one thing that gets through, so he can just deal 9 and draw 3. So not attacking here. Big misplay here. And now we're going to go for the vault plan. Shaman. Can't really play it right now, though. I'm just going to equip this guy. Reason being that if he does figure out that he needs to attack, I'd love to be able to block with his Gilded Drake and draw 2 cards off of it. Because we still have the lapse mana up. So he sacks it into turn and gets Tundra. And casts Eladamri's Call, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell could he get? But I don't really want to lapse. I'd much rather lapse what he taps out to play, and I'm thinking all the different possibilities of what he might cast. Maybe something like Fiend Hunter or Sower, but he doesn't have a second blue. And he gets Simulacrum. Ancient Tomb, which he almost certainly top deck there. So it gets around my Spiketail Drake. But that's fine, because we're lapsing that. And now it is time to pull the trigger that we've been waiting on for multiple turns. Perfectly timed command tower as well. Transmute Muddle. Cyclonic Rift. God, how right was Nate about this card being in the deck? I resisted him putting it in for a while, and he was totally correct. 7 mana, Rift. Scoop. Thank you for my Edric back. Goodbye to your elephants. Bash. He does get to untap the big guy, but he takes a bunch of damage. So he casts his Simulacrum. I draw Mana Lake. God, such perfect timing there, too. I definitely had to run pretty well, given the way that the game started, in order to pull this out. But when you have the cards in your deck to do that sort of thing, sometimes the deck does deliver. So now we're just going to cast Edric, get a guy, blow up his Simulacrum. I get 2 more 1/1s. Send in the team. He untaps the elephant. And look at this. Mana Drain. Phantasmal Image. How beautiful. Forbid, too, and Claim. I could just sit back on my mana now, probably, and just win. But let's bring... Since this guy was concerned about me wasting his time, I'd rather just draw the game to a close. With another giant Terastodon to kill that, and that, and that. And leave him with 3 colorless mana and a Maze of Ith. And a very, very dead opponent. Pretty fantastic game, and I love the fact that it didn't involve an early Soul Ring or anything. I did go second, but I didn't have to mulligan. It was just a cool game all around. Got to see how his deck in action, and certainly got to see Edric doing its thing too. Hope you enjoyed that one. More to come.